Welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at 6-ish tips to help you optimize your Blender scenes. Now the reasons we optimize is to maximize VRAM usage, make sure that the scenes run nice and smooth so that you can get more work done more fast, more quicklier. Anyway, let's get started. Number one might seem super obvious off the get-go, but if you're like me and you work professionally with Blender, that means sometimes you're going to be swapping your blend files with other people. And the amount of times that people send me blend files that are completely unorganized is more often than not. So tip number one, folders. Keep everything in folders. Now this might not seem super obvious off the bat how this helps you maximize your VRAM usage or keep your scene running smoothly, but if you can find objects faster, if you can find extraneous items faster, then you can begin to optimize in a more optimized way. Going down the list, simplifying textures, sometimes down-resing textures has to be done in a methodical way. And the easiest way to do that quickly is to make sure everything is organized to start with. Number two is instancing instead of duplicating. They sound like similar things, but when you duplicate an object, that's when you hit Control D to make a copy of the object that you have selected. You are now putting two of those objects into your VRAM. Your graphics card and your system is now referencing two objects. But if you hit Alt D, when you have that item selected, then it instances. It creates a copy, but it's more like a virtual copy. Now your GPU and your system is only holding one object in and referencing the second one. So it cuts down on VRAM usage and is excellent for scenes where you need a lot of detail or where there's a lot of repeatable objects. Number three is LODs. If you're a game developer or a VFX artist, then you already know exactly what LODs are. And I'm not talking about swapping out level of details based on how far your camera is, though there are cool add-ons for that. I'm simply talking about setting up your scenes strategically and using lower level of detail objects where you need them. This garbage bag is a perfect example. While the textures are carrying most of the detail data, there is no reason for me to be using a high geometry, high level of detail model when this will do just fine. These boxes are exactly the same thing, don't need a high level of detail. Things that fill out your scene, a lot of the like clutter details, especially in this scene, no need to have high geometry counts. You can get away just fine using low level of detail. Number four is using some pretty well-known image texture hacks. This includes using your diffuse, color, albedo, texture map to drive your roughness, or a bump map. This basically just cuts down on the amount of image textures that have to be loaded onto VRAM to render your scene. The less image textures you have in your scene, the faster it will perform, the faster it will render, and the smoother it will be. Number five is less of a tutorial tip and more of an art concept, and that is implied detail. Implied detail, what does that mean? Essentially, on large scale scenes, you only need 7 variations of any given object to trick your audience into believing there are thousands of them. Large scale scenes, you only need 7 different types of trees, 7 different types of rocks, 7 different types of twigs, grass, terrain type, whatever. You only need 7 of them. On smaller scenes, you can get away with even less. On this one, 2 or 3 different tree types, different rotations, different animations, you're golden. Implied detail, repeatable objects, rotational differences. You can get away with a lot by using very little. Number 6 might be the most obvious one, but it's something that can slip by. It's just to double check your work. Maybe you're building a scene, this is your magnum opus, this is your masterpiece, and you accidentally used a 16K diffuse texture instead of a 2K texture for background prop. Who knows? Any number of things can slip by. Maybe all 5 of the things I just talked about slip by. This happens to the best of us. It happens to me all the time. So if you're starting to experience issues, or if you're just about to send a shot off to render, double check your work. So there are 6 tips to help you better optimize your scenes in Blender. If you have any more, anything that you think I might have missed, leave them in the comments below. Maybe I'll get to it another time. And this isn't an exhaustive list by any means. This is simply the 6 that I keep at the forefront of my mind when I'm making scenes, especially complicated scenes, just to make sure that everything runs smoothly. So anyway, hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.